Good evening, our fans from around the world. It's another South African show, and we're going to be discussing the refugees. 59 Afrikaner refugees arrived airport very close to Washington, and it's the first batch, I guess. And to discuss the refugee situation and why they were left packing from South Africa is Mustafa, Alex, and Kule Williams.
All right, I'm not being sarcastic. I want to congratulate those guys, man. They managed to get into America as white people. They're going to get funding. They're going to get more than I get. I've been here at 400 years as a slave. They're going to get money from the government. Their kids will get health care. These guys are smart, and I'm being real. I wish Black South Africans had this deal too to get the hell out of South Africa because it appears that South Africa, as bad as America is,
No, they
African
can't
isn't.
leave. It's theirs.
Yeah, but
You
here's the
can't
thing.
leave
Even
your
Nigeria
stuff.
fucked up.
They can't
A
leave
lot
their
of people
stuff for
like
someone
I know
else.
Kule, you wouldn't want to leave, but Afalabi, if they told you you could come to America as an immigrant now, would you come?
I would.
Of course you would,
I
man.
wouldn't.
I
I don't
would.
Those guys are some.
understand. I, I,
Those
I
guys,
I don't mean I don't hate American people, but I don't
yeah,
understand
yeah.
why I want to go somewhere where if I fall sick, I need to look for three
Okay, but
thousand
here's the thing,
dollars for
Kule.
an
But here's the
ambulance.
thing,
I don't.
Kule.
I'm
Here's
too
the difference.
scared. I'm scared of.
Kule, here's the difference. If you fall sick in Nigeria and you have asthma, you could
I'll
go to the
probably
hospital and there's no
die.
electricity to
I'll
save
probably
your life.
die.
What
In
if I
America,
get
you don't
a
have this.
cold?
So Kule, you're a lawyer and you're
I'm too
living well in
scared of
Nigeria.
America.
But I
Too
promise
scared.
you,
I can go there for 2 weeks
yeah, but you're
on a
rich.
holiday.
You're rich. The average Nigerian will sell their soul to go to America right now
Oh yeah, sure.
because the economy is bad. In Nigeria, you can have money and you still have to fly to England if you have cancer.
Yeah,
Even
sure.
the president who's rich has to leave the country because we don't even have proper health care.
Yeah,
So my thing is that
that's why he keeps
so my
going to
thing is that
England.
yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not going to Nigeria. In Nigeria, I can't make $5,000 a month like I'm making here. You think I don't? You think I want to live here? You think I want to live here? No, I don't want to live here. I want to live in
Really?
Nigeria. No money day, no electricity day, kidnapping day. What else do you want people to do? So these white folks that are leaving, it'll be better for them in America because they've got the government taking care of them. They'll be on TV, everything. We all know it's a bloody lie what they're saying that they're refugees and they're being genocide. That's a lie. But if I were them, I wouldn't want to stay in South Africa either because black, white, everybody's fucking suffering. The country is bad. But the sad thing is that it has to get to the point where there's this types of division. People who've lived, whites have lived in South Africa for 300, 400 years, and they have to lie and say that they're under genocide to leave the country. Meanwhile, it has high levels of rape, high levels of violence for everybody, but more for blacks. White unemployment is 9%. Black unemployment is almost 50% in South Africa. People are struggling. But as usual, when we look at history, white people take care of theirs. Remember I said that, Afolabi? White
Yeah,
people take care of themselves all over the world. I give
yeah.
them credit. Black people in Nigeria and South Africa, if Nigerians come to South Africa and say, get the fuck out of our country. If Ghanaians come to Nigeria, get the fuck out of our country. We all fight each other.
Yeah.
Uh, Rwanda is fighting South Africa. Blacks, Rwandans are fighting each other, insulting each other. Congo's fighting Rwanda. So let's look at what the white people are doing, and now we realize why we're fucked up. The white people take care of themselves. Elon Musk, who's a white South African, is now bringing in Afrikaners to the U.S. You have to give him credit. We have to give the white race credit for loving themselves. What are your thoughts, Alex? Yeah, yeah.
Um, yes and no. Yes and no. You have to balance that out with all the wars that Western Europe has had over the centuries,
Oh yeah.
French and Germans and killing each other. But yes, I understand the principle of what you're saying as a movement that began about 400 plus years ago when they enslaved and created the concept of Black people being inferior. But that was done by a select group of the wealthy whites to make the poor whites feel important by elevating them because they had a similar style of culture and understanding as the rich ones. So they made them feel more valuable so that they could keep them oppressed whilst not realizing that those whites are also oppressed. What's going on now is quite disgusting, though, because what they fear is equality. What they
Yeah.
call persecution is simply being given a level playing field. What they consider being given a level playing field as genocide and persecution, but and it's revolting. I mean, my
Yeah,
words
but
have
Kool-Aid, I don't
failed
think they
me.
believe that. Let me tell you something, Kool-Aid.
It's
White people are lazy. Here's the thing: black people have built their economy. I don't blame them. It's not just that they treat oppressed white people. Even oppressed white people are treated better than oppressed black. In America, even if I kill a poor white person, police will come in a second. If you kill a poor black person, they won't come. So my argument is that they're getting a good deal because they're stealing African resources, they're enslaving us, using us to sell their drugs. So to me, there's no motivation for them to have equality, because if there's equality, they'll have to work. Right now, they have it good. In America, the average white person makes $15,000 a month based off of the struggles and death of African and black people. Why would they want equality? Because if there's equality, they would have to work.
Yeah.
What do you have to say, Cornelia? If there was equality, they would have to work. And they don't want to have to work. They don't want to have to compete.
Yeah,
because
that's
then
what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying, is that they can't handle the concept of equality, not just the standard of living,
they understand the concept of equality.
Life.
My thing is that they understand the concept of equality, but they know that if there's equality, that they will have to work harder. So even though they understand the concept, they will subvert it to their own advantage. Same thing with me. If I have
not like just working harder.
Same thing with me.
Working harder. The right to existence.
Oh no! They have to have black people to exist.
Life
no. They have to have black people to exist. Black people still overpopulate the world. They have to have black people to exist because they need slave labor.
Yeah,
they're not going to kill off black people.
I'm talking about the value of life.
They're not going to kill off black people. They may kill off. They kill off Palestinians.
To be equated as the same.
Yeah, no, but they believe we have. They don't believe we're human. Yes, I agree, but they still give us the right to live.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Oh yeah, but to me, that's our problem because we're allowing them to do it. The whites are outnumbered in South Africa, but they're still doing better. So whose fault is it? At the end of the day, if you look at how white people took power in Africa, it's because our own people sold our own people. Because we had tribalism, even in South Africa, the Zulu, the Xhosa, it's because we fight each other.
I thought they were just beaten in a war and conquered. That's.
No, but we were beaten because we were divided.
And lost.
We were beaten. They beat us with
our
technology.
They tried to do it in Asia, but the Asians beat the Europeans.
Oh yeah, because the Asians fight together.
You have to
because the Asians fight together. The Africans don't fight together. The blacks don't fight together. Even in Nigeria, the way the British took over Yoruba land is because the Yoruba son wanted to take his power. So he told the British to help. So it's our fault. So I'm going to give credit to Trump.
They divided and conquered the tribes. They did the same thing in Germany with the German tribes. The Romans divided them all, and then they took them all. And that's what they did to Africa.
People are angry. They say we're embarrassed that whites are coming. South Africans are embarrassed that whites are leaving. No, leave them alone. Those guys are looking out for themselves. Whites are looking out for ourselves. The question is, what's going to happen in South Africa? It's not a question about people leaving it. What's going to happen internally in South Africa? No, so it's not just South Africa. I'm not picking on South Africa.
I think
what's going to happen in Nigeria?
It's a response to the ICJ. They're trying to say South Africa has
but those
also
whites
done
that are leaving.
Rights violations, just like America.
But the whites that are leaving.
That's what it's about. Because the
whites that are leaving,
right.
think about it. The whites that are leaving, within a week or two, within 3 weeks, they'll be making $3,000-$4,000 a month. They're actually doing better than they'll be doing in South Africa. So those guys that are leaving, they're lucky.
Will they?
They're lucky. What are your thoughts, Alex?
I don't know. Maybe not.
Yeah.
You asked a really good question. What's going to happen in South Africa?
Yeah.
And because when Afrikaners leave, when the land debate gets louder, when institutions filter, it's not just about race or migration, it's about what kind of country we're becoming,
Yeah.
So the deeper question is, can South Africa build a truly black-led, people-centered society that doesn't replicate the exploitative structures we inherited? Because if the system stays the same, even with different faces in charge, then nothing changes but the accent of the oppressor. So internal reflection must happen.
Farm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Internal change. And the problem. Sorry, go ahead. Continue. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like whites are doing what all nations and tribes do, looking out for themselves. And that's not new. What's dangerous is when Black people are taught not to do the same. We're told to forgive, to be peaceful, to be patient. Meanwhile, every other group, white, Asian, European, even wealthy African elites, is securing land, passports, wealth, schools, futures. So the challenge now is, can Black South Africans really, not under a flag, but under purpose, can we break the Roman playbook before it plays us again? So it's really something to think about.
Oh yeah, and part of that I'm going to say is that if you have these leaders, Ramaphosa, all the leaders, even the DA, the citizens have to hold these guys accountable. They need to start using the money from South African resources to pump into schools, especially in black, colored neighborhoods, poor neighborhoods, pump into schools, pump into everything, and to get rid of this what you call it, this divide in wealth where a few people control all of the wealth. That's the first step, but there's also so many other steps. Female violence, xenophobia, all these things. All of this has to go because it's not productive for the country. But like you said, it should be a black first country. That doesn't mean whites are on the side, but what it means is that the imbalance needs to be addressed properly. What do you think, Afolabi?
Yes, I quite agree with you that the gap in education between the Black South African and the Afrikaners is very, very wide, and it's really affecting them. And it has made, empowerment very disproportionate. I mean, ever since Donald Trump signed the executive order, he has cut aid to South Africa. He claimed because of land ownership laws and brutal killings, there has been no evidence to support this. 70% of Afrikaners still own commercial farmland in South Africa. So it's a false narrative that has violated, the sovereignty of South Africa. So South Africans need to wake up and get more of the blacks there educated so that they can be more, competitive when it comes to employment and empowerment, so that they can use their own resources to develop themselves more internally. Because what Donald Trump and America has just done from a country that came out of apartheid is to increase the animosity between the whites and the South African blacks. It's not going to help.
Yeah.
How do you refer to this situation as genocide? You're just going to fan flames for another problem, between the whites and the blacks of South Africa. I don't see how this helps anyone. You've received 59 people and you're just going to give them employment, some to Minnesota, some Nevada, some Idaho, and they're going to be living like rich people there. And then you are making them look as if they just, brought them out of hell, which is not really the case.
Yeah.
It's
the US that's doing
it's a
that.
false
It's the
narrative.
US that's doing that. Yeah. It's the US that's doing that. It's not South Africa. Ramaphosa has clearly said it, and he told the truth. He said South Africa has crime issues and other issues, but everybody's suffering together. He also acknowledges that there's a gap with black and white, and they're trying to improve it. And this goes to the whites in South Africa. Whenever there's a group of people like EFF or anybody who says let the country become socialist, what socialism means is that the wealth of the nation should go to being the well-being of the people. It's just like Ubuntu.
Yeah.
Everybody should do well. The white people start saying, nah, footsack or whatever they say, you're lazy. Black people are lazy. No, these motherfuckers are delusional.
And this
Black
is
people are not lazy.
This is a wake
Black
up.
people are not lazy. Blacks and coloreds and Malay and people who came from Asia built South Africa through labor.
Oh, yeah.
Whites did their work too, but they built
hard
it.
Work and labor.
Yeah, their labor. And now, so we know they're not really Africans. These Africans are not really Africans. They came as Europeans, and when things get bad and the country falls apart, they go to Australia, they go to England, they go to thing. But my thing is that for South Africa to be well, we've talked about it before. The whites, the blacks, the coloreds, every tribal, every ethnic group has to work together and see it as one. And I'm going to say it again. The only way that can work is through socialism, through the money of the country being used to make sure that every citizen has health care, every citizen has proper schooling, every citizen has safety. And even if you're poor, you still have conditions that are good. And then maybe your family can move up through education. What are your thoughts, Kunle? Yeah. Is Kunle here?
I think he's off.
It's very simple. But you see, the thing is, if you look at old England and how they had the rich and the poor divide, the rich believed themselves to be superior to the poor. What happened is that they simply invested.
Is he cut?
Oh, I think he's broken off.
Skin color is the reason.
Oh, okay.
Oh dear. Am I back?
Yeah. Try again. Yeah. Back? Yes, you said skin color.
So skin color is the reason why it's difficult for the white supremacist governments to simply integrate and simply say, okay, let's just invest in those areas that are poor so that the generality of the economy will do better and everyone will benefit. But that prejudice is also what's used to control. And because of that, that's why there's a difficulty in actually making progress. And the injustice is always a blockage to that progress.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna read some. I'm gonna read some crazy stuff here that these guys wrote. Okay, So one guy said, my own father was born in Europe, probably in Afrikaans, and had to leave his country when Hitler came in. We respect, no, that's what Americans say. We respect what you have done to deal with these last few years. So Americans telling people we understand because my family was treated badly by Hitler. Your family was treated badly by Julius Malema. He's comparing Malema and black people to Hitler.
Can you
He's trying to
imagine?
say, I
Can you
feel
just
so sorry for
imagine?
you.
That's
That's a Jewish
ridiculous.
person talking. That's a Jewish person talking, a
You
Zionist.
know, the reason I understand that America doesn't have health care is because they didn't want black people to have free health care. That's why they're the only first world nation that doesn't have free health care. And
Yeah,
the
but most
Europeans
white
didn't have
Americans are rich
different
enough.
races in their
Their
country,
jobs
so
pay
they
for
had the
them.
common sense to do
Yeah,
it for everyone.
but my point being mean is that the Americans are telling the white South Africans, we're sorry. We know how the Jewish people suffer, so you two are suffering. Can you imagine? They're comparing the suffering of
Oh, it's
Jewish people
disgusting.
to white
It
people.
made me
That's
want to throw
ridiculous.
up a
That's
little in the
just
back
Yeah.
of my
ridiculous.
throat.
What do you think about that, Alex, as a South African? What do you think about that? Oh, I feel so bad about how the whites are suffering in South Africa.
It's
How
a
the blacks treated
scam.
them so bad. What do you think about that? Isn't that the most ridiculous thing you've ever heard? Yeah.
It's so ridiculous. And to even compare Malema to Hitler, that's crazy. How did we get there? Because
And
like
then
the only time I can
go ahead.
remember this farm killers was back in like 2011. That was the only instant that it happened. And from then on, it stopped immediately. Like
What
they
was that?
stopped
Bomb
it.
killing? Oh yeah, yeah.
I really don't understand why they're speaking like this, or like are they really trying to like,
No, no,
kiss
the world is
Donald
coming
Trump?
to an end. The white world is coming to an end, and they're being exposed for what they are. In South Africa, the way they kill
The
people,
empire is coming
yeah,
to an end.
but the empire is very bad because the empire is not. When you hear the word empire, it sounds like it's glitzy. Empire is built off of lynching black people, killing black people, raping black women, destroying neighborhoods, killing off millions of Indians. Empire is very dirty. So now they're taking off their mask. And then the guy says, we are sending a clear message that the United States rejects the egregious persecution of people based on race. And he's talking about whites. He's saying that South Africa is a racist country and the US stands against it. Can you imagine? This is a country where black people
Two
get killed
things
by police.
destroy empire: vanity and injustice. Those two things
Yeah,
destroy an
vanity,
empire.
injustice, and delusion. So the world will learn. Okay, so what was the last thing? Yeah, so one consideration for resettling Afrikaners, not Afghans, was that they could be easily assimilated into our country. So what they're saying is that because Afrikaners are white, they would rather bring them than Afghanistan because they're culturally the same. They're admitting that they're racist. They're saying it's easier to bring white people than to bring people from Congo or suffering or people from Afghanistan because at least the white people would fit in well. They're just admitting, and this is the thing under the Trump regime. Under the Trump regime, white supremacy, you don't have to be ashamed to say it. When
Yeah.
when when the U.S. was helping Ukraine during the war, someone said, "You're helping Ukraine. Why don't you help Congo?" They said, "Because these are blonde people who are Christians. They look like us, so we have to help them." So they're just telling us who they are. What are your thoughts, Afolabi? Yeah.
Yeah, the way I see this is just immigration fraud, plain and simple. In a normal situation, a refugee situation, it takes years to finish processing it. This has taken just 3 months. You can see that they're just, manipulating and acting like mercenaries to get this thing done as quickly as possible. Meanwhile, you have put laws in place to prevent immigration for some other race, for some other black people, and you are fast tracking for these people. Even the Episcopal Church in the US has refused to assist with resettlement. They've broken their
Yeah.
refugee partnership with the US government because it's morally bankrupt what they're doing, and it doesn't in fact, the fact that they're even calling it genocide makes it worse. And you look at the way they have it looks as if they've planned everything. 3 months. Normal refugee process takes years. It's not this fast. So it's obvious they have an agenda, and it's racial, basically.
Well, and also it's politically motivated.
Yes, it's racial. They want to populate America, make America whiter.
With white people,
It's
yeah.
very clear. That's what they're trying to do.
It's obvious.
But they can't do that
has said that
because
white
the
people,
white has become
Elon Musk
so
has said,
wealthy that they stop reproducing.
yeah, they've stopped reproducing.
A lot of these Africans live
They're
like
too wealthy.
they live like
Once you
aristocrats
become
in
too
South
wealthy,
Africa.
they become more selfish. They don't reproduce. Not die
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, and that's why Elon Musk has 14 kids, and he said the reason he does is because he wants to have as many white kids to counterbalance ethnic groups. So Americans will also bring in whites South Africans, because they know that when these people reproduce, they'll vote for the right wing, and because Americans are losing control of their country by having too many immigrants. They don't want the immigrants to outnumber them of color. So that's all this is. All right, so we'll go last thoughts. We're almost done. What are your last thoughts on this, Alex? On what we can do? What's the lesson we've learned from all of this? If there's anything, yeah.
I think we're witnessing a moment where history, race, politics, and privilege are all crashing into each other. It's like the last season of Game of Thrones. It's confusing, chaotic, and somehow still centered around white people claiming the throne. So the US fast-tracking Afrikaner refugees sends a clear and comfortable message. Refugee status is not just about danger, it's about desirability. Who you are, how you look, and where you come from determines whether you're seen as a victim or a burden. And as a Black South African watching from the sidelines, it's surreal. The same group that built and benefited from apartheid is now being cast as the oppressed, while people who've been struggling for generations, both in South Africa and the US, are told to wait, behave, and bootstrap their way to survival. It's the ultimate performance of privilege. Leave a system you once controlled, claim you're unsafe, and land softly into a country built on the same colonial blueprint, now with refugee perks. So, I don't know.
And this should be a message to Ramaphosa and the ANC. They need to realize that white people hate you. And South Africa needs to realize that if this is how the world will support the people that held South Africans down for 300, Black South Africans for 300, 400 years under settler and apartheid, then like Biko said, black man, you're on your own. South Africa needs to look within itself, the government, and realize it's time to change things so that you're never disrespected like this anymore. And when the whites leave, and even whites should stay, because whites, blacks, everybody that's in South Africa is valuable to the economy of South Africa. But this racism and this division needs to stop. Once again, I'll say if anybody wants to figure out what South Africa should do, read the EFF's charter. The EFF is not about stealing land from white people by force. It's about making sure that all the land in South Africa benefits black people, yes, but there's nowhere where they say it doesn't benefit whites also. So that's all I have to say. What are your thoughts, Kunle?
Yeah, the concept of equality being seen as oppression. And what I'd like to say now is that what is happening now with this claim of genocide and all these falsity claims, I used to look at the world like a fair. If you look at the world like a fun fair or a circus, you can stand in the position of the audience and it all looks bright and glittery and beautiful and wonderful. But then you go backstage and then you can see the nasty, dirty, grimy workings. And that is what social media has done. It's been able to expose all the nonsense that goes on behind the facade of beauty and wonder. And it's becoming increasingly difficult for these far right, these kind of ridiculous positions to hold any traction. It's impossible, even with the support of the mainstream. I am sure that at some point something is going to come down hard on social media, because even with all the restrictions, social media still has a way of breaking it. You know, when you start to restrict social media,
black people are behind Traore. I'll die for Traore. I'll die for him. I'm serious. Yeah, I'm not joking.
Yes, you know, when they started restricting, when Facebook restricted, it saw a loss in popularity because it was trying to hide from too many things, and now it has to face it. So social media is like an animal by itself. And like I said, Rodney King with the camera, that was the beginning of exposing lies, because now we can trap the truth in picture and sound and transmit it to the world. So it's harder to lie.
George Floyd getting killed by policemen on camera.
Yes. So it's harder to lie, and they get caught in that lie more and more and more often. And then that's where the people become disillusioned by these falsehoods and these false narratives. They are simply afraid of facing equality. They see equality as oppression. They see themselves as superior human beings. And if you allow yourself to be inferior, you're going to give them a mandate for them to murder you. So you cannot even allow yourself to be accepted as inferior. Otherwise, your life will be less bad.
You have to fight them back. And right now, we're fighting them verbally. We have to fight them back verbally.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. Very good points. Afab, your last words of wisdom, then take us out.
Yeah, jollof rice.
No, I'm eating peanut butter.
I
Okay.
thought it's jollof rice.
Yeah. So
Peanut butter.
basically what I'm saying is that they don't even know what genocide is. Genocide is what happened in Rwanda in 1994 where Hutus were killing
Sorry,
Tutsis.
I follow me. They know what genocide is what they did to the
They
Khoisan
know,
people.
they know.
What
Yeah,
they did to the Khoisan in South Africa. That's
yeah.
genocide.
They don't want to admit or tell the truth.
What I'm
they
trying
know.
to say, Kule, is that if what happened in Rwanda in 1994 had involved a white person, the whole world would not have ignored it. They ignored it because it was black killing blacks, and it was obvious. For 3
But
months.
some Eastern European genocides though in the 90s, all those Eastern Bloc countries when they were breaking away
Yeah,
during
but
the
Kool-Aid, they sent in peacekeeping troops there to stop that. To stop it for white people. They don't want to do it for blacks.
For
Go
3
ahead.
months, the world ignored Rwanda, and Hutus were killing Tutsis just because they were black. If not for Kagame that led an invasion that stopped that thing, they would have continued dying because it was black killing blacks.
And what about this, Afolabi? They're not stopping the genocide in Palestine. Nobody's doing it.
Nobody's doing that.
And it's always young people that don't know anything that have been alive for less than 20 years. They fill their heads with stuff and they go around killing and they haven't even learned anything about the world. They think they're superior because they're from one tribe or one part of the world or other. And the world is just about wake up, eat, sleep, work, go to bed, have basic
and drink.
justice.
Don't forget drink.
And that hypocrite,
and the world is actually very simple. But you just have assholes that just don't want things to be done fairly.
And that hypocrite called Bill Clinton.
Muslim,
he had the nerve to say never again after a lot of blacks had died in Rwanda. They're all hypocrites.
Bill Clinton. Well, his wife killed Gaddafi. Hillary Clinton killed Gaddafi. So we know there. All right, thank you. Let's get out of here. We're going to continue talking about more. But you're watching Today is Focus on South Africa with our dream team, Alex, Afolabi, and Kunle. I said it without missing up, even though I had some wine. So that's a good sign. Take us out, Afolabi.
Okay, it's been another wonderful South African show from Alex, Mustafa, and Kunle Williams. We'll be back again.
All right, guys. Very good show. Thank you, guys. Okay. Good.